Okay, so Noel, tell me something about you that no one else knows.
My secret identity is as a scuba diver starved for the ocean here in a landlocked state.
That's cool.
Tell me something that people don't know about you.
When I was 18 years old, I shaved my head.
That would have been amazing to see. I hope there are pictures.
There are. So I'm Suzette Chang, founder and CEO of Thick Descriptions, where we disrupt traditional educational methods.
And I am Noel Jacobs, the executive director of the Respect Diversity Foundation, a nonprofit devoted to creating experiences that help us get to know each other to the point where we understand, appreciate, and respect instead of just living side by side.
And so we are in partnership, meaning Thick Descriptions and Respect for Diversity. And we offer a monthly podcast called Elephant in the Room Unboxed, where we talk about uncomfortable conversations. Kind of like that scuba diving, huh?
There is plenty to love and enjoy about our state and the cultures that are represented here, but there are also difficult things to look at. What are some of the conversations that we've had that have been important to you in this podcast?
I think some of the important ones to me have been those overlooked and underestimated histories of Oklahoma and how those histories, be it that Oklahoma was meant to be an all black state, that mental illness is definitely on the rise here in Oklahoma, among other places. And there's
Mhm.
so many other histories and topics that we've talked about. What about you?
Hearing stories that don't show up in history books that are actually lived experiences by the people that we've interviewed
Mm.
has been most powerful for me. Part of it is because the best thing that we do in this program is help listeners into the shoes and the life spaces of people that have lived them. So hearing first-hand, authentic delivery of history that really humanizes problems that people have gone through that we might not have ever known about before has helped me appreciate not just this place, but the people that have made it this place and helped me understand how we can make it better.
Love the way you say that. In essence, what I'm hearing you say is this podcast helps people understand that we are humans and we have different experiences and they don't always happen at the same time.
Absolutely. And if we don't take time to listen, then we not only miss their story, but we miss how we can be better.
Agreed. So, everyone listening, thank you and enjoy this experience with us.
We hope it has an impact on you.
Yes. What attracted you to being involved with Respect for Diversity?
I met Mike and Joan Kornblit, who were the founders of the
Mhm.
Respect Diversity Foundation, at an interfaith event and had never heard the story of Mike's parents, who were Holocaust survivors, who ended up in, of all places, Ponca City, Oklahoma, and intentional about raising their son to understand intolerance between people and the damage that it causes. And he tells his story way better than I will. But after that, I went to a few of their events and then became a program director, helping with an important film program that they created called the Jewish Muslim Film Institute, that really tried to bring people together across religious and cultural divides that throughout history have been part of some of the best moments and the worst moments in humanity. And because I got involved in that, and they have close ties to children's communities, including schools, and I am a child psychologist, I just got more and more involved in it over time until I'm in this place that I am now, which I love.
Nice.
What about you in Thick Descriptions?
I am a native Californian adopted Oklahoman. Moved here a few decades ago, enrolled my daughter into school, and was told that she was in a certain class. That's fine. Her transcripts had not arrived.
Mm.
Later on that day, I received a phone call from her teacher saying, effective immediately, your daughter is no longer in our class. And I said, okay. So I get to the administrative office and I said, I understand that my daughter's been moved. Can you explain why? And she said, we always put the black kids together.
Oh, my word.
And she turned a few shades of red out of, I think, embarrassment of that coming out of her mouth. And then she said to me, "We've always done it that way."
And this is what year?
This was about almost 20 years ago.
Oh, my word.
And it's been experiences. That's what started Thick Descriptions. There have been other experiences similar to that where very grateful that people were honest, meaning a woman came to me and said, "Why don't you live on the northeast side of Oklahoma City?" Because I live on the northwest side. And I said, "Well, because I just live here." And she said, "Well, all the Black people live on the northeast side."
Mm.
And she meant the consistency with that and several other experiences I've had is people are being genuine. They're being honest, not understanding the words that are coming out of their mouth.
And why things are the way they are.
And why things are the way they are. I've been told that I could eat at the same lunch counter with others. Yeah, it's just been a variety of different experiences, which ties into Oklahoma being the most polite state in the country. Yet we don't understand in our desire to treat each other like human beings how we're missing the mark. And that's just from a language perspective. That's not including the histories before I came here. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, shortly after that, I went to school here in Oklahoma. I went to OU, sorry, OSU, and pursued a degree in anthropology and learned about Clifford Geertz, who is a famous anthropologist. And basically, he coined the term thick descriptions. He basically said that anthropologists of that time were literally going to communities, sitting in their armchair, doing armchair anthropology, and they weren't talking to people. They weren't engaging with them. They weren't understanding. And I thought, it's still happening. We got to do something different. Because I choose to believe in most spaces in Dr. Geertz's time and prior, people have good intentions. They just don't understand that their choices, what kind of impact it has.
Absolutely.
And so that's how Thick Descriptions began. It started off as a consulting agency, and then in 2016, it became a nonprofit.
My first memory of Thick Descriptions was driving out to Spencer, Oklahoma, to a church where you had a conversation started with some other well-educated people and some community servants and then some community residents. And it was all about how so many things can go wrong in simple interactions that we have. And I was so glad that I went out there that night so that I could understand. I had wanted to know how you even come up with a title like Thick Descriptions, and you gave such a great definition of that. But sitting in that space, all of us were part of something that was separate from the experiences that we have every day outside of that space, because we saw something for the first time that we hadn't seen. I'm so thankful for that programming.
Same.
And for this
same.
podcast.
Same. We have, because that was I know that was pre-pandemic.
Oh, yeah, it was pre-pandemic.
Like maybe
2018, 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You've got a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that as well. And that room was packed with folks that just wanted to do things differently.
They wanted to understand something they didn't understand.
Correct.
And I think that's our audience.
Yes. Yes. Collectively, I think Oklahomans and most people in the United States, we get that what we're doing is not working collectively. We're just trying to figure out how to do it in the most humane way. And part of that process is learning some very uncomfortable histories.
One of my favorite things about this podcast, as a listener, you can go through these uncomfortable conversations. You can learn things that are difficult to think about and experience emotionally when you've never even gone through them. But in the moment, the only thing that we ask is for you to let it in and consider someone else's lived experience. I have a question for you.
Go for it.
With this history that you still walk through and experience, and knowing there are so many ways that Oklahoma and Oklahomans can be in a different place than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you choose to do this work?
A few reasons. One, when I first came here and learned about some of the histories, one that really stuck out to me is Boley, Oklahoma. A reason that space stuck out to me is I did a really deep dive on some of the histories there. And it, like several other rural towns, and for the listeners, let me say this, that Boley, Oklahoma is one of many historical Black towns in Oklahoma. But for many rural spaces in Oklahoma, they experience brain drain.
Mm.
So Boley, like many other rural spaces, used to be the top as it relates to academics, as it relates to sports. I mean, pretty much anything. They were in a class by themselves. And somewhere around the 70s, 80s, give or take, a large amount of people left and did not come back. And so, for the most part, collectively, that space is filled with a lot of older people. But I share all that to say it is a representation of many spaces in Oklahoma where brain drain, where when people leave, how do we expect those communities to either even come back to the way they were or to continue to improve? They can't if people keep leaving. And reasons that people leave Oklahoma, more so in rural areas, well, I would say excluding Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and maybe Norman, and maybe even Stillwater. Those other spaces, economically, they're struggling. Education is not the best.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things that are going on. And if someone doesn't stay and try to help and try to figure out ways to bring attention to those spaces.
Sure.
I could go even further. So moved here in 2002 and lived in Oklahoma City my entire life. The way Oklahoma City is growing now or has grown, it is amazing to me. So it is an example that it can happen.
Sure.
When you get the right people at the right time that are all committed to doing whatever the focus is, it can happen. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I stay here. I watched not only my family, but have had the privilege of educating and working with a lot of young minds. And one of the first things they say is, I can't wait to get out of here. So another component of that is we collectively are investing so much time and energy into these young minds, and then another space gets the benefits of it.
Right.
So it's, and a lot in my research, a lot of it comes from, well, why would I want to stay somewhere that they treat people like dot, dot, dot?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe they're treating people this way because that's all they know. Again, what I said earlier of collectively, I think people don't wake up in the morning collectively. I know there's some that are, but collectively, I don't think people wake up in the morning and say, how can I irritate Noel today?
Right.
How can I hurt him? I think we all, as human beings with our own experiences, we do things based on what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And we just repeat because that's what we know. No one has kindly or thoughtfully sat us down and said, do you realize what you just said? Do you realize that what you just wrote into law, how it's going to impact, it may benefit this group, but there's like hundreds of thousands over here that it's impacting in a very inhumane way.
Right.
I get historically that people in power, there's a big issue of distrust. I get it. There's enough to go around, not just here in Oklahoma, but around the country and the world, where if we would just pull our resources together, there is no reason why any human being would be without a roof over their heads, clothes on their back, food in their stomach, health care, and a quality education. The United States is, I think we are still the richest country in the world, if not one of the richest countries in the world. There's no reason why collectively Oklahoma, we should be at I think we're at a D level when it comes to education. And that's not just for kids, it's for adults too. We rank 5th grade level for adults in comprehension.
And these issues that you're bringing up are related to the very issues that allow certain attitudes about people groups to continue.
Correct.
The reason that we can overlook or marginalize or even harm certain members of our community because we need better information than we have.
And I know with respect for diversity, you all are definitely committed to getting those mutual understandings, getting people to see things, and Thick Descriptions is committed to that as well through anthropology. It's creating those spaces where people do not feel threatened about the way they've always done things.
Absolutely.
And it takes time. It takes patience. It takes commitment.
Yeah.
It takes thoughtful conversations about our language and our histories and our backgrounds and our culture, all the things that make us human beings with different experiences. It takes us looking at policies and systems that have been around since, and no one has questioned them. I'm not suggesting that we completely get rid of the entire systems the way they are, but we do need to step back and look at them. Maybe they did work 100 years ago, but they're not working now.
Right. My great-grandfather wrote a book called The Well-Balanced Man. And really, I think he was just encapsulating the idea of the self-examined life. That when we do pause, when we step back and examine what we've been through and how it's shaped us, what we have learned, and also what we haven't learned yet. What do I know I don't know? One of the things that I think comes up repeatedly is we don't know others' lived experiences.
Right.
We pretty much find it easy to stay in the bubble of our own story. And we both believe that when we let other stories in, it shapes us. It changes us. It's education.
Agreed.
All by itself.
Agreed. So what puts a smile on your face?
Similar to something that you said just a minute ago about why you stay here and why you do this work. I see moments every day where someone makes a realization, where two people make a connection that they've never had before, where a moment that can be very dehumanizing is humanized for somebody because of compassion, because of understanding. And Oklahomans are good people. And like you said, I don't believe that anybody wakes up thinking, how do I cause the most damage around me today? I think that we're living in our own experience and we're going through life. And every one of those people shows grace and can give and receive love. And that gives me hope for our future. And I think that if things can get better here, they can get better anywhere. So I have lots of moments every day that put a smile on my face because I see somebody who was kind, who paused instead of rushing, who made a human connection. Even when we have some of the worst weather out there, we have people come together in good weather and bad weather and do nice things.
A kind thing. Agreed.
After the 2013 tornadoes, I volunteered for 2 weeks with the Red Cross in Oklahoma and went out to several communities to see how we could help in a given moment somebody's life after they'd gone through this. And one of the things that I found is that people were already there. There were things that we could do to help,
Nice.
but people had started helping immediately.
That's cool.
And that gives me hope for Oklahoma and for our country. What puts a smile on your face?
Several things. One of the top things is to see a human being have a light bulb moment,
Mm-hmm.
be it they are by themselves or they are interacting with someone else. And I get to observe it, be it they figured out a way to increase their credit score or they have connected with another group that they didn't even know existed. They've learned a new language, just ways that people are contributing to their own happiness or figuring out their own what makes them happy, and I get to watch. That brings a smile to my face.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Human beings are pretty cool. We're complicated, but we're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty cool. I know, well, and let me know if you know, because I don't. Is there a model in our history that speaks to human beings treating each other like human beings?
Mm. One of the oldest things that I have seen cross-culturally is that in most cultures, Karen Armstrong wrote a great book about this called The Great Transformation.
Mm.
The idea of selflessness for the sake of the other seemed to sweep across cultures. And it was somewhere between 500 BC and 500 AD, if I've got my timeline right, where it really went all the way around the world. And in some ways, it looks like there's not a clear understanding of how it jumped, based on travel and people contact between groups. But one of the things that came out of it was the Golden Rule. And I've heard recent great commentary on whether the Golden Rule is sufficient for a true understanding of humanizing the other universally, so that it spreads through a society. But that one, treat other people the way you want to be treated, is important. I've heard someone go further and say we really should follow the Platinum Rule, which is treat other people the way they want to be treated, which increases the level of respect and requires a greater understanding of that person. You have to know somebody to know how they want to be treated. So there are ways to approach, and then based on the learning that you get from that, then you know how to treat somebody else.
Agreed. Do you think that there is a way where both can be? Like we as humans just have this bag of approaches, be it the Golden Rule or the Platinum Rule or grace or mercy or kindness, or I'm just going to be reflexive or I'm going to be. Do you think that we can just all have a bag of choices and just choose one or a few based on the circumstance?
We're so different and cultures are so different. What's really polite in one culture is not
agreed
polite in another culture.
Right.
And there's a book that I read called How to Be the Perfect Stranger. And it tries to look at universal ways to create the space. And that's the idea, really. I have to create space and vulnerability. Right. That means that you could hurt me if I don't know you. Right. And I let you into that space, you could hurt me. Right. But I do it with the intent to say, I've opened the space up because I value getting to know you so much. Right. I want to know the right way. Right. So I would say if there's any universal way, maybe it would be like that. Okay. And that's scary for us. Fair. And agreed. Yeah, and we're not all going to have positive experiences every time we do that. True. So, but also, I know most people who do that are optimistic because they might have been hurt, but they've also had really powerfully positive moments. Right. So they believe that they can continue to have those positive ones. Right. And making themselves vulnerable and being hurt was in a sense worth it
Right.
because of the benefit they get from those ones that go right.
Agreed. And do you think experience is can help with that process as well?
No question.
Yeah. So expecting a teenager or a 20 something or a 30 something, just someone younger, I'll just leave it at that. Do you think expecting them to um, know what to do, when to do, and how to do it? I know Kyle and I have had this conversation of when we were younger, and it's like, oh gosh, thank goodness for grace and mercy. But do you think experience?
I think there's no question that every child and adolescent out there can move into that space.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have room for them to not know it all. It took
Right.
us years, decades
Right.
to get to the place where we understand as much as we understand. And I am still ignorant and I still accidentally cross lines that I don't intend to.
Right.
So, genuineness, adults leading the way, giving grace to kids so that they don't feel hurt or punished when they make mistakes, makes them, or I shouldn't say makes them, but it really encourages them to feel good about learning, to feel good about trying. Even if they get it wrong, they're in that place that you talked about with grace and mercy, to say, it's okay, you're coming along. Keep going. Don't give up. Stay open. Continue to find those experiences that help you understand the others so that you can treat them the way they want to be treated.
Because I think the three of us are around the same age. And I know when I was in my teens and early 20s, there was no social media. There was a certain, I won't say the name, but I just remember the dial-upping.
Oh, sure.
I remember that. But and emails and things like that, that was something new. But outside of, I believe we were transparent. I think we were part of that first of a few generations that were very open about what we did. We just didn't have the amount of platforms that are available now for everyone to know what we were doing.
Thank goodness we did not have social media for me to put all of my opinions and thoughts on and pictures. I'm so glad that some of those pictures of me aren't floating out there. Yeah.
A reason I bring up that history is I know I have older folks who are no longer physically here that showed me grace and mercy. And it was like, here Suzette goes again.
Yeah.
But they didn't throw me away.
Sure.
They just, okay, baby girl.
Yeah.
You can slow down now. And so if we as in our age group and older could be those buffers for the younger generation of encouraging them to speak their thoughts and their minds, their opinions, whatever, just knowing that it's going to shift. Because the way you're thinking in your teens, trust me, by the time you're in your 20s, 30s, married, kids, whatever the case may be, your outlook is going to look completely different.
Sure. And I really encourage teens and parents to have these conversations at home, because part of the problem with social media, there's a lot of good direct communication that happens between teenagers. I see that all the time. So it's not that social media is everything for teens, but there are many cases in which I see fewer conversations between teens and their parents versus what we used to have, because there are so many other ways to spend your time electronically that some of those conversations that used to happen may not happen as much anymore. And that means that there isn't the dialogue. And this is so important. Dialogue is two-way or more, right? And we learn because in that moment, you've got, especially if you're face-to-face, you've got the verbal feedback and the nonverbal feedback. And adults who are doing it right can show understanding and teaching and grace all at the same time. And you don't
not say a word.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't get that on social media a lot of times. What you get are the extreme reactions. Either people agree with you wholeheartedly or enthusiastically, or people cut your ideas down, tear at you personally. Exactly. And that's not the same learning process as, well, I just really gaffed when I made this comment to somebody. And luckily, the person that I said it around was loving enough to say, you got that wrong, but let me help you understand
I haven't heard that word gaffed in a while.
that.
I have not heard that. Have you, Kyle?
I
You
think
have?
I might be.
Yeah,
I
it
might
is.
be older than you do.
I don't think so.
By just a bit.
I don't think so.
So,
But yeah, what you just shared and what we were just talking about younger generations, our generation, older generation, um, that those factors. In fact, I was listening to a piece on social media just the other day, and the speaker focused on it doesn't matter your age, your gender, your ethnicity, your nationality. We're all gonna die.
mm,
That's the inevitable. We're all gonna die. And so during this thing called life, what can we do collectively and individually to make this life worth it for as many as we can?
mm-hmm.
Definitely for the younger generation is helping them to understand, yeah, you're making some choices. There's probably not the best. Probably because you don't have the experience. You have access to knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. Well, most of us do. We have a cell phone. You can, search anything you want and learn from it, but it's not going to provide the context. It's not going to provide the nonverbal communication,
Sure.
the like literally right now my hands are moving because that's how I was taught to communicate.
Right.
All these different things that you don't see, and you might see on certain social media platforms, but knowing when to apply it,
Mm-hmm.
when to use it, when not to use it, when to say, I'm not understanding what's going on with this. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the good thing about human development is there's some things that all of us have to do
Right.
to move forward and reach our full potential.
Right.
And they involve making mistakes.
Yes.
We have to make mistakes.
Yes.
And that means we have to make mistakes on social media if we're on social media. We have to make mistakes in our friendships and our relationships.
Yes.
And
financially, all of the things that human beings do. Yes.
Absolutely. And thank goodness for most of us, there is a way to get through that to the other side and to have learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take it with us. It's like luggage we pick up along the way.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things about human experiences are that they can be very light luggage.
Yes.
And we can unpack them whenever we need
Yes.
to use. But we have to go through it and learn.
Yes.
And we really can only learn best by doing.
Yes.
So we do and we fail, and then we do and we succeed, and we learn from both.
Yes.
And it's good that we've got community around us to help us make sense of it and to continue feeling okay with ourselves.
Yes.
As we go.
Not too long ago, a family member, older family member, was talking to another family member, and the older family member said to the younger family member, "You pay to learn." And the way it was, not just what it was said, but how it was said, it was very hurtful. And I thought, and later had that conversation with both family members and thought, how else can you learn? If you're not paying with your time, you're paying with your resources, you're paying with something.
Right.
So how is that a bad thing? And that older person couldn't answer me. It was a reminder for me that how they learned out of survival.
Yeah.
And so that meant you stay in this confine. So
because it's dangerous to not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. As you were talking, I was listening and thinking, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Safety isn't the same for all of us.
Agreed. Need isn't the same for all of us. Yeah. Like I said, it's cool being a human. At the same time, it's complicated.
Absolutely.
But it's not impossible.
Your work as an anthropologist, whenever I think of an anthropologist, one of the first things I think about is a talk I heard on tool making by ancient cultures. Like the ability to identify that this thing can be shaped into a tool that helps accomplish this thing.
Yes.
And how tools became such a part of the advancement
Yes.
of civilizations, of
Yes.
communities all over the world.
Yes.
And what you try to do is put tools in the hands of people.
Agreed.
And those tools are based on others' experiences.
I think respect for diversity does the same.
Agreed.
The reason that Noel and I decided to get together, we meaning Thick Descriptions and Respect for Diversity, started this partnership about a year ago. And this first year has definitely been an opportunity for us through the Golden Group, Kyle, so thank you very much, of us exploring and figuring out how we want to humanize the human experiences. And as we are now into our second year, we thought it was time to be a little bit more strategic. And part of that strategy was to make sure that you know that this is a collaboration between Thick Descriptions and Respect for Diversity.
Absolutely.